On today's episode, we are going to be closing up this X-Men conversation because we've done technically 1.5 episodes of X-Men. They've ended the season, so we got to end that conversation. And we're going to get into a few other things. Probably going to talk about some of this Diddy situation here recently, and definitely we're going to get into this Assassin's Creed controversy. So sit back, don't go anywhere, ring the bell.
Class is now in session.
All right. So, on today's episode, like we said, we're going to be talking about X-Men. We're going to be talking about Diddy. We're going to be talking about Assassin's Creed. We're going to get into a few other things. But before we do all of that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe because why haven't you already? But I am Instructor BK.
I'm Instructor Novacaine.
And you are tuned into Society and Pop Culture 101.
Here we are. It feels like we haven't talked in a long time.
I mean, technically we haven't. I mean, you pull the Band-Aid off, pull the curtain back a little bit. We haven't talked in like 2 weeks.
It has been a little while. I was sitting here like, we're gonna record. They was like, y'all recorded right now? And I said, yeah, right now. We gotta get it done.
Right. It's weird to like be off almost a month from recording, right? But shout out to everybody that's been on this season. By the way, this is our mid-season episode. Like this is mid-season finale right here too, by the way. Yeah, we'll be back in July, right?
Yay. Yes, we'll be back in July.
So since this is the mid-season and we talked about a lot of stuff this season, one of our most important episodes was probably the Diddy episode, right? But did you see the apology that he made? Okay, let me set this up correct. Or do you want to set this up? Because I feel like I've been talking a lot. What's going on with Diddy?
So first of all, like you said, we've talked about this a few times, and actually we talked about this twice this season. The first time was when the lawsuit came out, and of course we were huge supporters of Cassie. Me being a huge supporter off of the fact that I'm a huge person that looks at body language, and I've always like looked at how they interacted with each other in the public eye, and it just never gave like love, healthy. It never gave that. So when the lawsuit came out and we had that episode and we talked about it, of course I supported Cassie. Of course we supported Cassie. On top of, there were already a million rumors about this monster, Sean Combs, for literal 30 years. 30 years there has been rumors about this monster. But when you have power, there's just things that you could just get away with. So Sean Combs posted on his IG sometime after the lawsuit, like how things were going to be coming out, not to believe the truth. I'm sorry, not to believe the lies and always believe in the truth. He's innocent, blah, blah, blah. I didn't believe it. Never did. This is like right after the lawsuit. So December, January time. About a week or two ago, he also went to his IG and posted that time reveals truth. I am a huge believer of that. I have always said that time will reveal everything that we always wondered or questioned. And it's like one of those things that kind of bit him in the ass, and I'm so happy it did.
Oh, yeah, it did.
It did, real bad. So like a week ago, we get a video. I'm just in the house chilling, relaxing, and I start getting notifications. I'm like, why is my phone blowing up? And everybody's talking about Sean Combs. And I'm just like, why are they talking about this man? Come to find out, CNN, out of all news outlets, CNN, the news of the news, dropped the hotel video of Sean Combs assaulting Cassie. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this video because one, it was recorded in 2016. Two, what occurred in this video. Now, I've been very vocal about domestic violence. I've also had talked about my play in domestic violence. And I always said that I always thought that, for a part of me, I always thought that, maybe if I didn't swing on somebody first, maybe they wouldn't hit me or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this video, Cassie did not swing anywhere. It looks as though she was trying to get away. Sean Combs, in a towel, by the way, a freaking towel, runs down the hallway like a maniac that he is and proceeds to assault this young lady. I mean, tossing her around, kicking her, punching her, and it's just disgusting.
It is very much so.
It's disgusting. And come to think about how he did this in front of a camera. Imagine the type of things he did in private.
Mm. That was private, supposedly.
Allegedly, it was supposed to be allegedly private, right? They thought they could get away with it because, of course, they probably rented out that whole floor of the hotel. They probably had that whole floor of the hotel, whatever. They probably already had some type of deal with the hotel. Hey, I'm gonna slide you a couple of $100,000. Let me get them tapes when we leave here. No words will be said about this.
Facts.
2016 was 8 years ago, almost a whole decade ago. A lot of people are wondering why it's just now being released. I don't think people understand how power truly works. If you bought this tape, it is now belongs to you. So if you don't show anybody this tape, it's like one of the what was the movie, Menace to Society, where they got that tape from after that robbery. If they didn't show anybody, nobody would have known that tape existed.
Facts.
If he would have destroyed that tape, but he wasn't going to destroy it. Narcissists love holding on to their manic ways, We
learned that from Jeffrey Dahmer.
Everyone in history ever.
They got to keep a momentum.
I'm sorry, God forgive me for saying this. That's why I know that I'm not on the wrong side of the crazy, because I don't keep up with the crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like if I do something really, really wild and crazy, like, I'm trying to erase that from history as much as I can.
You would show compassion and regret.
Yes.
That's what's missing from a lot of these conversations. A lot of people don't have that empathy.
There's a lot of compassion and empathy that's missing a lot. One thing that I didn't see too much of, and thank God I didn't see too much of it, but I did see a little bit of sprinkles here and there. People were asking, like, well, what did she do to him? Nothing she could have done to him where it was a hot second she was balled up in a fetal position. Where what are they expecting it to say? There's nothing she could have done, because if someone
at the moment
attacking you, that's just like if you getting in a fight with somebody, y'all one-on-one, everybody done had a fight one-on-one, y'all fighting, that person crawls up into a fetal position, you gonna still keep on beating them? You already won the fight. You already dropped
I'm sitting here. Yeah, and if something else was to happen to that person, that if a person attack you and you attack them back, at the moment you become excessive, then now you're the criminal.
Yeah.
Like, what could she have done? Like, there's nothing on no level that will warrant an attack to continue like that, unless she was still coming at this man with a knife or something.
No,
and I'm not even saying, because she didn't even doing that. Like,
right.
It wasn't right. No murder weapons, no guns, nothing, no blades, nothing.
Then 2 days later, I'm gonna say it was like 2 days later, Sean Combs post a public apology where he didn't even apologize to anyone.
I was gonna
He
say that
didn't
he
take it.
definitely did not.
He didn't take any accountability. There was no compassion and empathy for on Cassie's behalf. Then, of course, all these, oh God, people of the internet, I don't know how y'all keep up with this stuff. I don't know how y'all know which clip to pull out of nowhere. But he had like some weird lifetime achievement award back in 2022, 21, one of those years. And he freaking thanked Cassie. He freaking thanked her in this speech by being an asshole about it, because this was when she finally, was in a healthy relationship. This is the first time I saw her smile with a man since ever. I never saw her look like that with him. Never. Ever. So now she's with this new man, happy, starting her family, and now you want to taunt her in her face? Nah, bruh. Nah, bruh.
Control.
Nah, bruh.
He
Like,
needs control.
and then like people always talking about oh well, it couldn't have been me, da da da. Then on top of that, all of these other stories start coming out about like his relationship that he had with Kim Porter, the relationship he had with Misa. Misa is the mother of what's his name, Justin. So he has, is it Justin first, then Christian? I can't remember which one come first, but basically,
no.
Both of them was pregnant around the same time. And then he had the twins and Chance, and they were pregnant around the same time. So, like, anytime, I'm sorry, God forgive me, and y'all might hate me, but I don't care. Hate me all you want. Anytime a man has more than one woman pregnant at a time, he's a freaking monster. I'm sorry. There's nothing that can go, because you're playing somebody and you're playing yourself. So those are already red flags right there. I don't care how much power you have behind you. You got two women pregnant at the same exact time. You're trash, bro. Period. All the different things a woman has to go through in a pregnancy, and now she got to think about, oh, I'm not even the only one right now that has this man's child. Excuse me, sir? Anyway, that's besides the point.
So where does this diss track fit in all of this? Because I
Who's
know the
this
son
track?
did it. It was one of the sons dropped the diss track about the FBI raid.
The one that makes the music.
So they dropped the diss track. Dropped the diss track about the raid, about the FBI raid, and then
that happened before the apology.
Yeah, it also happened before the FBI.
The video dropped too.
Allegedly, hold on, I got it. So the joke or the commentary was, this is allegedly, this is really the FBI retaliating because maybe they already had the footage from when they raided the house or something, and then you dropping diss tracks, and we all know law enforcement can be a bit petty. Case in point, Afro Man, when they ran into his house, they weren't supposed to be there. Afro Man dropped the mixtape and law enforcement returned, I think. So
yeah, I remember.
I'm just saying. Gotta be careful out here in the streets.
Can be petty. That's very true. Or because it's another court case coming up, because those haven't stopped happening.
No.
Since it's another court case coming up, maybe they needed to just put a little sprinkle out there. I don't know what prompted this video to be dropped. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if there's a conspiracy behind it to keep us distracted. Everything is here to distract us, y'all. Like, let's just get over the fact. Like,
I'm gonna be honest.
Everything is distracting us.
At this point, I don't even believe in distractions. I just think
I don't even believe it.
That happen.
It just happens.
These are things that happens.
Yeah. Some of this stuff just happens, But I will say that this monster is falling from grace, and I appreciate it, because not only have I heard like big rumors, I've also heard like little things like with like up and coming artists like from here, from DC, that Diddy has stopped. You know, whether it's from DC, Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania. I've heard right just like throughout the years, and it's so crazy to me. Like, how can someone have that much power? No one man should have that so much power. Like,
Right.
like what?
What was Kanye telling us this whole time?
Was he talking about Diddy this entire time? Because Kanye, he's also one of those people that has a lot of that going hidden little secrets
I
going
don't
on
know.
in
I
there,
don't
you
know.
know?
I don't know. I don't know. But I'm
He couldn't
just
have been talking.
saying.
I mean, Kanye does is still another powerful one, but he's nowhere near powerful as Diddy.
No.
You know,
No. No.
there is this one conspiracy where they said he didn't renew his Illuminati trial, so that's why Diddy was receiving. God forgive me, I shouldn't even say that because a lot of people,
Allegedly.
allegedly, a lot of people, from what I am understanding from that one, I know you saw those documents from the court, that one court case. It was like 76 pages long or something. They were talking about the Cassie is a couple of Cassie incidents, the whole Stevie J thing. I think they mentioned Meek Mill. They mentioned Usher. All of these things, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, man.
I feel like when you said it just feels like a lot of these things, whatever has been going on with a lot of these celebrities, it's like the public is tired of it. You know, like
Mhm.
they're tired of following the celebrity trend. And yes, celebrity, the worship of celebrity is still very huge, but it feels like a changing of the guard in some sense. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It just seems like everybody that can be exposed for something is being exposed very publicly, and it's weird. I mean, call it karma, call it time, whatever. It's happening.
I think it's because over time, and I've had this conversation. I feel like we've talked about this personally. We're evolving, right?
Yeah,
As human beings, we're evolving. We're going to continue to evolve. Kids of today are on the internet. Kids
all day.
of today are not us, and they're not supposed to be us, right? They do not look at how celebrities were looked at 20 years ago. I feel like humanity has put these celebrities on this high pedestal for no reason. Come to find out, half of them broke, half of them is poor, just like everybody else that I know. Working middle class. If they didn't have the endorsements, if they didn't have these companies paying for their rent, they'd be ass out. You know,
But
only there's like a nice little handful of them that has actual money, right?
I mean, just hold on before you continue. If you, for the record, I don't think there's some sort of divine revelation or anything like that. I just think, coming back to your point, the way our generation was exposing smaller things, and I wouldn't even say exposing, we were just learning things. We learned on our watch, we learned that rappers wasn't making the money that they were
Mm-hmm.
making. On our watch, we learned that a lot of these rock stars and stuff
The
wasn't all that they was.
athletes,
Yeah,
everybody.
we learned that they were all human,
Yeah.
right? No, there was still a few that was left over from the way we treated celebrities from a past generation. Look at our parents' generation. When you bring up certain stars, there's a prestige that they talk about them, and we still have a few of those here. We still talk about Denzel. We 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 still get a little jaded about the whole Cosby incident because we watched a great one of our fondest memories get taken down by one person that we all kind of knew wasn't really all that good of a dude. We already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Like even but that last little piece of whatever Bill Cosby was, we watched it get dismantled in front of us. And we had to come into the facts that wait a minute, all these dudes of our generation and the generation before us was a little trash.
Yeah, a
And
little bit. A lot of it.
we grafted our whole everything off of those people. You know, we
Mhm.
learned from those people. Our childhood was in those people, and we just watched them all like crumble, you know, and we watched them take good people with them. And I think we're a bit jaded. And now that we're a bit jaded, the generation after us, because we're all like, I mean, he's just a celebrity, you know,
Mhm.
it's really not
They're
that
still
much. And
human at
and
the
I
end
think
of the day.
we build on each other, you know. We dismantled it. I mean, our parents dismantled our stuff because they knew certain things. And then our generation, we learned it, we watched it crumble in real time.
Hmm.
And then this generation watched us watch our whole thing crumble and was like, we're just gonna do our own thing. And they're more creative and in certain aspects, not dances. Um, and
Amo,
I
not dances.
they just be copying each other on TikTok. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
Um,
dances ain't hitting like they used to. I will agree to that.
but it's just certain things that this generation that's behind us is doing that we couldn't find the way to do it. They're doing it the way we thought we should have been doing it. But we're
Yeah.
okay with that. Like Gen X, we I watched the Gen X TikTok. They were like, they were quiet. We wasn't quiet about ours. We just didn't have the
Whoa,
tools.
you're not Gen X.
I said Gen X was quiet. We
Oh,
millennials were
oh.
not quiet. We just
I
didn't
was about to
have the
say.
tools. We just didn't have the tools to dismantle it. But
Mm-hmm.
now,
We had
this
the
new
idea.
generation, we
Mm-hmm.
we we was the spark. But the next generation, they got
Yeah,
TikTok and
Gen
they
Z.
band together.
They not playing. Gen Z not
No,
playing.
no.
Gen Z is
And
not playing. And shout out to Gen Z. Like I don't know
yeah,
why
we are not
everybody
against
like
y'all.
hating.
Stop.
Yeah, millennials are not against y'all. Y'all about to take that up with them
No.
boomers. And we
Yeah,
ain't no
we
boomer. Them the boomers. Y'all
like
about to take
we
it up with
see
them.
you,
We see you guys. We're the ones that gave you guys that backbone in the first place.
right? Like
We
we are
support
your
you.
foundation. We are
We
your
support
foundation. We
you.
with you.
We are with you heavily, bro. And it's all because we're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to have a different
Facts.
lifestyle. It's supposed to be different. We're supposed to be better generation by generation. If we're not, then something's wrong.
I think where we went wrong as millennials, we had, and we're off subject. What we went wrong as millennials is we had a lot of the older generation still with us, and a lot of that older generation was not ready to move on,
Mm-hmm.
and they derailed our chances to move on from things. But this new generation, Gen Z, they was like, nope,
Nah,
we don't want you over here, and it's
nah.
been working
You
out for
can't
them.
sit with us. You can't sit with us. That's how
And it
Gen Z.
takes that. We didn't
That's
know
how.
that that's what it took, but they was like, "Nah, we saw what you did, and it was cool, but we got it from here."
Baby, wait until Alpha become adults. Y'all think the boomers probably gonna be a lot. God forgive me, I shouldn't have said it like that. But a lot of the boomers probably gonna be phasing out around that time. But if
They
y'all
gotta
think,
go.
I mean, lifespan. that's what I. That's what I was
Oh
getting
no,
at.
I wasn't talking about. Never mind. You don't have to go. Stay as
I was
long as you
talking
need
about. I
to.
was talking about lifespan.
Stay as
But
long
that's
as
what
you
I
need to on this earth. Just get
like.
out the way.
Just get out the way. So, but back to the whole Diddy thing. I don't even know how we got all the way about Gen
I
Z
don't
and
know. Oh,
Alpha.
because we were talking about them just not caring about celebrity culture as much
Oh
as
yeah,
the generations before.
I never, and I'm a huge person of this because I don't get into all of these jokes that people are saying, like the diddler and the no Diddy thing and things like that. And I did laugh when you, me, and Dom were on the show, but even in that episode, I was like, I don't feel right that I'm laughing at these jokes because at the end of the day, a lot of people were assaulted, a lot of people were traumatized by this man, and I will say that I do not like watching people in their demise, but this is the one and only time in my entire lifetime where I am enjoying someone's fall from grace.
Okay, so two things. One, I'm kind of okay with the Diddy jokes, and I'm gonna tell you why. when the people were mad at Napoleon because Napoleon came and whooped everybody's butt so toughly, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened with Napoleon? What did they do to his legacy? They said
It
he
made
was
me into a
short.
joke.
They
Yeah,
made
they called it
him
a whole
into
complex.
a the Napoleon complex. Yes, the propaganda was thick, but I feel like it was needed because it needed to take the firepower out of the monster that Napoleon actually was when it came down to the battlefield, right?
Mm,
So, in that sense, I kind of see it a little bit. I'm not saying that's what everybody's doing, but it does make it easier to take the
the monster
massiveness of
part.
whatever he is. Yeah, it kind of
Like
shrinks him back down
shrinks them.
to everybody else's size.
I could see that.
Um,
I could see that. It
so
takes a lot of the power away.
yeah, as far as having the compassion and watching the man burn, I am
I
definitely
have no
one.
compassion for this man. I have
So
compassion for the victims. I can't have. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's because I've heard. Like some of my earliest memories are like, of course, playing with dolls, being potty trained, and
yeah,
of course
yeah,
that. But by the time I get to like school, earliest memories, Diddy is there.
and
Why
that's
is
the name
this
of this
man in
episode.
some of? Why is my man in the in my earliest memories? Why is he there? Because I remember being a child and hearing rumors as a child.
I didn't get that because we have such a bit of a gap in between us. And I'm also from Alabama. Diddy was not on everybody's hearts and mind over here. If you were from New
Well,
York,
you know
we
he
knew you
was,
existed. We know you
yeah,
existed, but we didn't
and
really care.
he went to Howard, and then he had like this whole Howard connection and things like
Yeah.
that.
So
So he didn't even
I'm gonna
graduate from Howard. I didn't even know that until like 5 years ago. I was like,
so
what?
okay. So this is it, and then we got to close this up because I'm not saying you have to care about Diddy or anything like that. But let's go back to this Kelly Price thing because this is the part of the internet that I hate the most.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hear someone that may be religious, maybe not, and they say, "Hey, I'm gonna pray for your soul." Praying for someone's soul or praying that they get the help they need is not really the
It's not saying
support
that you
in the
support them.
way you guys are gravitating to that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have to understand, just like with the Vince McMahon thing, um, when John Cena and all that was like, we still talk to him, even though a person, say your father or your mother or cousin or brother, they may have not been the monster to you, but
Mm-hmm.
they was the monster to other
Must be
people.
somebody else. Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to understand that most of these people may have had a pretty good time. They probably
Mm-hmm.
didn't see that side. They probably wasn't partying with him. I'm not saying it's okay to just be like, oh, I forgive you for everything you do. Forgiveness is not for you, and it is not up to us as the internet to forgive Diddy. If Diddy
Mm.
didn't do anything to you, you should not have any hate
You
in your
shouldn't
heart
have to
for
forget
Diddy.
exactly. You shouldn't be like, "Oh, I forgive you." No, if nothing happened to you,
It's
why are
it's
you
not for
forgiving this
you.
man?
It's not for you to forgive him.
If you're
If
not
you
close
have
to
no
him,
now, if you got hate in your heart on a religious tip, now that's a whole different thing. You shouldn't have hate or contempt in your heart for anybody.
mm-hmm.
But you should understand that people are people and people do evil things. Okay.
That's true.
Have that. But don't let them corrupt you or disrupt your good vibes or your good time on this earth because they did something evil. Yes, you can have compassion for the victims. And I think because the internet is such a time capsule, when it came down to Kelly Price's uh I hope your soul gets saved message. Basically, that's what she was saying. Um, People were upset that it was like, well, you didn't say anything for Cassie. Maybe she wasn't worried
Yes,
about
he did.
Cassie's soul because Cassie's didn't do the things that Diddy was out here doing.
That's a valid
Think
point.
about that, people. Like, I
That's a
don't think
valid
she was.
point.
And again, most of her stuff may be positive with Diddy, and so she don't want to see the man go to hell. I think that's okay
Yeah,
if you
that's
don't
just
want to see
okay.
the
That
person
is
go.
okay if you don't want to. That I feel you because that's just like if when it's like you said, if somebody did something evil, every day we get on the internet and somebody's like, free this person, free that person, but y'all know that they did the crime, so they got to do the time.
Yep.
Point blank and
And
period. So
and
that's
that's why I
basically
stand.
where Kelly was coming in. Like, I didn't care for Kelly I didn't have any type of emotions towards Kelly making that statement, because that's what you do with your family.
Yeah.
That's just how
Yeah.
it is. Me personally, would I have said it? Of course not. That's just who I am. That's
Yeah.
just who I am. But I understand where it's coming from. Like you said, if it's somebody you love, no matter what that person does, you still do not want them, like you said, their soul being condemned to hell. And that's period.
Yeah.
Because
I
at
mean,
the
you
end
want
of the
every
day, we gotta leave this earth.
right.
At the end of the
And
day, we gotta face our own consequences.
and it ain't your job to be judging people out here. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad about yourselves or anything like that. I just don't want you to mess around here and then you die. And then you go to heaven and be like, but remember that time you were
But
mad at
remember,
Diddy and you was like, I don't even know Diddy. And then they're gonna be like, well, precisely. You
well,
don't,
but you had a
you
lot to
you ain't
say,
on the
didn't you? You
list.
had a
So,
lot of emotions, didn't you?
over
And like,
over over somebody you don't
I'm
know.
I'm still enjoying this Fall from Grace. God forgive me for watching somebody's demise, but like I said, this is the one off thing, where I'm like, yes, all of these, like a story came out about like the city of New York are trying to take the key back. Okay, it's something small, but take that
Yeah,
key.
no,
If y'all gotta
he
rip
gotta.
all of the awards away from him, rip them
Oh
awards away.
man, shoot!
But
Even in the Bible, people still had to get their comeuppance now.
But I do wonder how this is going to affect like Biggie, Mary J. Blige, 112, these artists. I do wonder how it's going to affect them because of his production. But at the same time, R. Kelly was over a whole bunch of music in the late 90s, early 2000s. That music is still being played. Maybe
You're gonna
not
have to.
his music per se,
Yeah.
but
So
the productions are still in heavy rotation.
you're absolutely right. And I was listening to Avant the other day, and I was like, dang, boy, R. Kelly wrote this song. R. Kelly can't write songs for other people that don't sound like R. Kelly. But anyway, we got to change the subject.
I agree.
Whatever happens to Diddy, we're gonna have to wait and see. For those that want him to go to jail over this, that's not gonna happen. For
I
one,
don't
it
think he's
was
going to
in.
do any jail time.
I don't think he can do any jail time over this at this point. I'm not sure there's an option for them. I mean, we already had the
Well,
civil matter.
yeah, but the lawsuit was in a different state, and this is in a whole different state. So we just got to
Yeah,
see how it's going to play out.
yeah.
Like the
So
laws, when it comes down to the
what I
laws
think
and things, I just got to wait and see because, baby, each state is
I
different.
I
So
don't I don't think they would prosecute him for
I don't
this
think he's going to
one,
get not for
but
not for
he
this.
got so many other things. Like if you spread yourself too thin anyway, if you could, let's say he could, if you spread yourself too thin on all these smaller charges, you're gonna miss the bigger one. And I think they're gonna go for the bigger one. Now these may impact whatever the bigger one that's gonna come down the
Yeah,
line, but
yeah.
I think everything he
It's
gets
something.
is gonna come
It's
from that.
I think something is brewing, and by
Yeah,
the time we come back from our mid season, I think something huge is going to happen by the time
yeah.
we come back. Like there's going to be something huge to
We're
happen
gonna
from
see.
now
We're
until
gonna
then.
see. Well, for those people, and this is the last thing on Diddy, and we're moving on. For those people that just want his comeuppance for Cassie, don't be angry if that's not what happens here, because this
Yeah.
happens all the time. And I mean, look at the president. We're finding out all types of things that he was
Our
involved
current
in and
president?
done. No, I'm sorry, last president.
Oh,
We
okay.
finding all types of things out in his case, and most of the stuff we finding out in this case, he's not going to be prosecuted for. So
Yeah, that's true.
anyway, let's move. Not saying that's what I want. This is not a political thing. I'm just pointing out facts. You keep your
That sometimes
pitchforks
it
in
just
there.
happened, and he still
It just
got
is what it
money.
is.
And he still got
Facts.
money. So if he could pay to stay out of jail, he will.
He probably will. So
Hold on.
I am a avid Assassin's Creed fan. Love it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. right? Franchises of all time. I've played them all just about. Maybe like aside from like the one when the PlayStation 4 switched over. But anyway, I mean from the 3 to the 4, I didn't play one of those. I missed. Anyway, that's beside the point. Recently here, Ubisoft
Ubisoft.
has announced a new Assassin's Creed game. And it's one the fans been wanting since like Assassin's Creed 2 or 3. And it's Assassin's Creed in Japan. Yes, there's a side scroll one in China. It doesn't really count for the itch that everybody wanted, which was the one that was in Japan. We want assassin ninjas, right? And we're
Mhm.
about to get it.
Which makes sense.
We got No Way, right? She is the protagonist, a protagonist in the new Assassin's Creed game. And there are two protagonists. There's No Way and then there's Yasuke. The problem with society is anytime they see a black guy, because Yasuke is black, they have a fit, and the first thing they want to yell is woke. So before we even get into this, first of all, stop using woke.
First of all,
Conservatives,
first of
conservative
all,
people, you guys are sounding like victims all the time now. Stop
and they
using
are.
woke.
First of all, excuse me. I'm sorry that I'm cutting you off, but when people do this and they get mad at black characters being integrated into media, games, how whatever, what have you. Do they think that black people never existed throughout history or something? Like,
Yes. Yes, they think black people never existed throughout history. Yes,
but if
exactly.
we all came from Africa and never mind, I'm not about to get into that right now.
That's a Greek movie thing. That's a Greek movie thing. Everything we do is based on media. The winners write the history of everything.
Unfortunately,
The moment the Greek overthrew Egypt,
it was a
it
wrap.
was a wrap. Because they destroyed the library.
Mm.
They destroyed the library. They destroyed
They
everything
just
that looked
destroyed history.
European. I mean, anything that looked black
African,
or not European,
ethnic.
they destroyed. They destroyed the Sphinx's nose. That's gone. Uh, so this is just how history works. But Yasuke is a black samurai, right? Or a retainer, and that is not the actual word for it. But plenty of my white brethren out here in these streets have been pointing out that Sasuke is not actually a samurai and that he does not deserve to be a protagonist in this game. To you, I say, one,
The samurai.
Yasuke was a slave that was bought over. Nobunaga liked what the first black person he ever saw. He was intrigued. He bought him from his master. He made Yasuke a warrior, a samurai. I think it's called a kanoe or something like that, which
Okay,
basically
yeah.
means like a retainer, right? I could be wrong. If I am, my bad. It's not on purpose. Um, so basically, a retainer is a person. Yes, they may have carried weapons, but at the same time, they will go into battle. They will fight. They had weapons. They had armor. Your argument goes out the window when you realize that it has been Japanese people that has been defending Yasuke, and it's been a lot of them, historians, people that just know the legend of him. It's not a lot known about him outside of the fact that what I already told you. But again, this man's armor is literally on display with weapons in Japan. He existed. He has a right to be in this game. And if the Japanese people ain't tripping, then
Why are
why are
you?
you? On top of that, for you that says, "Well, I'm not buying the game and no one's gonna buy this game." First of all,
Everybody's gonna buy
Ubisoft.
it.
Ubisoft, I'm a little upset at y'all about these prices because this 109 thing, and then I think
109.
the next one is like 160 something. It's wild. But
Video game,
the base is like $69, right? Do you know which version is number one in Japan? Or like number two or something like that. It was the 100 and something dollar version,
of
the
course it is.
ultimate edition. So to my conservative haters out there, gladly take a seat because you're wrong. You're on the wrong side of history on this one yet again. It's not
He
woke.
probably why he tastes. It's not woke. I
It's
hate
not
that
woke.
word now. I hate the
I
word
know.
woke now.
People, everything you don't like is not woke. You know who's actually woke now? Y'all are. Y'all are woke because every time somebody has a inkling of a skin tone that's not white, you're angry.
Say that. Say that, BK.
No one's erasing you. We're not erasing you on purpose. I'm gonna throw that in
See,
there just to
see,
bother you a little bit. But we're not erasing you. We don't want to replace you. Like some of us are happy being black. Like I love it. Like it's
I
like one
love
of
it
my
here.
favorite things to be. Yeah.
I
So
love it here. I love being
so
black.
like I need y'all to relax a little bit. I need you to enjoy the time. You just had Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Okay. All right.
That
That
was
was a
super
white
white.
dude. He was Norse. Okay.
Super
Yes,
white.
there was a female version of it. You could play either a female or male. And see, that's the
Super
beauty in this.
white.
You don't even have to really play with both of them outside of their introductions and a few missions. Like, if you want to be, if you want this game to be successful, not on the backs of the black guy, start talking about the woman then. But you're not doing
But
that.
you're not gonna do that because they don't want a woman either. God forgive me. Oh my God. Is it 2024 or is it 1916?
It felt like 1909 right now. Like, I'm
Like what
tired.
is happening? Like
I'm
this
gonna
why
take that back. I'm not
this
tired. I'm just
this
I'm
this why
over y'all.
sometimes I'm glad I haven't seen this argument. But now that
Don't
we're
go
talking
looking
about it,
for it.
I bet you I'm not going to look for it, but I bet you my phone heard about it, so they're going to show me.
You're probably right. But I just say, listen, people, life's too short. Start arguing with each other on the internet. Stop trying to argue with these people about it. You don't have to correct them anymore. It's enough information out there. If they really wanted to know, they'll go find it. Stop
Like I
arguing with
said,
them. Support the game if you want to. Don't support the game if you don't want
I
to.
bet you the
I
people
will be.
complaining don't even play video games.
Who knows? I know where I'm gonna be at. I think it's November like 11th, 16th, whatever. I'll check it later. I know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna
I
be out
might
here ripping some heads off
I
as
might play this.
Yasuke.
I might play this one.
Cause I've been
I don't
waiting
know.
for this.
November I probably won't be playing video games actually.
But what better way to end mid-season than to talk about the ending of X-Men 97?
Oh
Because
Lord, somebody cue up the daggone violins right now.
wasn't there some heavy stuff going on? Like,
Man, first of all, I don't know what these writers decided to do and when they decided to do it, but God bless them. All right. We've been talking about X-Men 97 for years. BK, before we even okay, you had the podcast, but I wasn't on the podcast yet. And I remember when they announced all of these Disney Channel shows coming out,
yeah.
and they only said X-Men 97. All we saw was the name. We never got anything about like the writing process, if they was bringing back any animators, any voice actors, nothing. And we were all so excited because we just could not wait. And this was years ago. Years. And here we are.
It absolutely lived up to the hype. And that is
Yeah.
what's tripping for me because I usually these things don't.
Yeah.
We live in this nostalgia focused world right now, and usually they give you like the halfway decent nostalgia stuff. You might see a cameo from somewhere, but and then if they continue the story from an old show, it never hits like the old show. If
Facts.
you go back and watch the older version of the show, the first 6 seasons of this, because this is basically season 7. If you go back and watch those seasons, they're still good, but they, you know, it's the 90s and it comes off that way. But some kind of way, they have taken what that show did, brought it to the future, gave us the same characters with the same emotions and the same vibes, and just
With the
still
nostalgia.
somehow with the nostalgia and somehow modernized it to a point where it's like it fits so well, and I don't know how. It's maybe the writer, showrunner, I can't remember his name right now. They already announced a season 2, which we at the end of this we're gonna talk about how it all ended too. They already announced a season 2, and they're gonna use everything. Well, a lot of the stuff he already did. They're gonna honor all the stuff he already wrote for season two in the new season coming up. So, which is great. He's just not going to be involved
Mm.
because I don't know exactly why he got fired. I don't
Maybe
know. We're not going
creative
to.
differences or something. You never know.
You know how they do the whole "oh, he's
Yeah.
tough to work with" thing. And then there's the OnlyFans thing. I don't think we actually ever discussed the controversial of why he dipped out or why he got fired.
Oh, snap. I didn't hear about no OnlyFans controversy.
Yeah, that's the thing. He has one. But I will say this. Any creator that's this good, like, name a creator in history that wasn't flawed, that wasn't demanding, and that wasn't a little difficult to work with. You haven't heard of
None?
any artist that's just been perfect all the way through. You don't know any.
Never. Never. Not one. If you guys can name one, let me know. Because I do not know one. What did I just say? I don't know not one of them.
I, DeMaio, that is his name, by the way. His name is
Okay.
DeMaio.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, they're gonna honor a lot of the stuff he already did. So let's get into it. Talk about episode 7, because if I'm not mistaken, it opens up with the funeral of Gambit, right?
Oh, man, the tears.
That's when we all figured out that Gambit is 100%
He's
officially
gone,
up
gone.
out of here.
He gone, gone. R.I.P. my man's Gambit.
And we get, which is one of my favorite moments again. I got a lot of those around this show, by the way. We get to see Crawler is Tip doing his reverend thing.
He did get down. He got down right
Look,
quick.
y'all don't know nothing about Reverend Nightcrawler, Reverend Joseph Nightcrawler the third. Y'all don't know nothing about
Shut
Reverend
up.
Joseph Nightcrawler the
That
third.
man's name is not Joseph. It's nowhere near Joseph.
So we see him at the funeral. We got Jubilee visibly upset because Rogue's not there. And Nightcrawler, being her adoptive brother, Rogue's adoptive brother, is like, hey, look, she dealing with some stuff, man. You got to give her some time, you
Yeah.
know? And then we see that Rogue is out here wrecking shop across the world.
Whole time she pulled. Y'all gonna take my love away from me? I'm gonna take y'all love from y'all.
She's out here looking for who is responsible for the. We see her find her first target. I forgot old buddy's name because I've been making jokes about how he looked like Dale Gerbil this whole time, and now his name is Dale Gerbil. That is not that man's name in the comic book or in the show. But she gets to this man compound, and she is visibly upset, verbally upset, I should say, about the fact that this man is supposed to be in a prison, and he out here living in the villa, chilling.
Mm-hmm.
She left her buddy alive. Ran into Thunderbolt Ross. They're on the compound where they keep the Hulk. Yeah, if y'all don't know Thunderbolt Ross, that's the man that has the obsession with finding the Hulk.
Wasn't he in Civil War?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's all connected. We got our own little MCU going on right here.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what do you feel about Ross? Like, because
Always shady. Nothing he says I believe. Never.
oh, absolutely not. I never believe anything he says either.
Never.
I mean, and his soldiers shouldn't have believed him either in this moment, because he was like, hey, we're in a facility built for the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rogue busted through that like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing.
And let's just be real here. We see the Hulk bust through that facility all the time. He's never really caught up, locked up. He's only there as long as he wants to be there. So she busts through, destroys some stuff, which also allows us to know that the universe, they have more coming, possibly coming from the 90s universe, because that facility is like the one that they held him in the cartoon, in the Hulk cartoon in the 90s, which was connected to the Iron Man show, because we also see.
I always forget there was.
We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about that later.
I always forget that there was an Iron Man show. but he was unpopular in my eyes at that time. So
He wasn't popular to a lot of people. He didn't get popular until the MCU.
the MCU, until that first
So
movie, until RDJ.
yep. So Rogue also runs into Captain America. And this
Child,
is where she also chased the government again. What was your thoughts
child.
on the scene? What was your thoughts?
As soon as Cap came out, I'm just like, okay, what timeline are we on? Where are we? Like, which Earth are we on? Because in our Earth, Captain America is still frozen. And then he didn't have America's ass, so there's that.
You know what made me angry about this scene? And this
Huh.
is where we get into like one of my first critiques of the show not being perfect, but this is on a personal level here. The promo work teased a fight, okay? I mean, we seen the shield get tossed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, oh, we about to see Cap go in a little
It did.
bit.
It did tease a fight. It never happened.
None of that. None of that happened. She came in. I, she wanted Cap to go with her to find Trask, and Cap did the diplomatic thing because at this point he's an Avenger. He works for the government, and his colors are red, white, and blue. If Captain America stepped on another country's soil, waging war on anybody, it would have been problems for America. World War, whatever, would have popped off at that point. So I understand, but you got to tell everybody what Rogue did with Captain Shield.
She frisbeed that thing. She hit my man with the go fetch.
I was like, in my mind, when she just grabbed it, was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna be needing this." I'm like, "Oh, this is son, Captain America."
She sunned them. She sunned them. She sunned the mess out of Captain America, and I was like,
I mean, what was Cap gonna do?
hit her?
For
No,
what? For what? For one, he's super gentleman. That's number one. And
he's
number
not. That's
two,
what I'm saying. Hit her? He ain't gonna hit her. He
he
barely
was
cut.
not. And number two, he know how strong Rogue is because we
Yeah,
find out that they definitely have tabs. The government has tabs on the X-Men.
they
So
got.
he know he can't hit Rogue. She got the power equivalent to Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel in this timeline, because in the old series, the first half of this, that's 97s is based on, she touches Captain Marvel and she gets the powers of Captain Marvel, which is why
Mm-hmm,
Rogue is so strong in this universe, in most of the universes, and which is why she was so weak in the X-Men movie timeline
mm-hmm.
because there was no Miss
They didn't have
Marvel. They didn't have the rights
Miss
to her.
Marvel. Mm-hmm.
So there was no super powered, super confident Rogue there, which
Right.
is why I always disliked the movies because we were still coming off the heels of this version of X-Men,
Yeah.
and that was everybody's favorite character. You Storm, Gambit, Cyclops, and Rogue, and not Wolverine as much, not yet.
No, not
Um,
yet.
that didn't happen to Hugh Jackman for real. I mean, he was popular enough to go
I've been
against
trying to
the Hulk.
tell people that he just was not that popular. Yeah, he had his own like standalone comic and his own little storyline, but I keep on telling people he was just not popular. There's a difference between having your own and the popularity behind it. So
Yeah, and you also have to understand at that point, comics was not huge. So
mm-hmm.
for this X-Men, unless you were Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, you were nobody. It
Facts
just is what it is. Or the Power Rangers.
or the Power
You could be the
Rangers.
Power Rangers.
That's
That
facts.
was
Growing
that was
up,
the
that's
popularity
facts.
right there.
That's facts. That's why we always got a million movies with them. And we still have a million movies of them.
Rogue's son, Captain America, he goes back into hiding wherever Captain America is in this universe. And then we find out that the X-Men
Rogue
and Rogue are on their way to see Trask, right? The creator.
Wait, we're not just gonna skip over you just easily, just so easily. Then the rogue son. I'm sitting here
She
thinking
should.
I'm like, who? When did she have a kid? And then you're like, her son, Captain America.
as a Captain America fan, I was
A
I
huge
was
one.
I was offensed. Okay,
You should
I
have
was
been.
offensed. I was
You
like,
should.
yo, this is not how we gonna no, we're moving on. We're moving on. Okay. We find Trask. Rogue
We
is
found
there.
Trask. We
The rest
found
of the
Trask.
X-Men are there. And
Child.
well, actually, Trask found the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue found Trask. Trask found the other X-Men, and they all conversed at the same time. And
What?
he's explaining to them what's going on with the Sentinel program. And then Rogue was like, okay, whatever. So Trask was like, I gotta pay for my sins, and I'm gonna jump off this building, right? And he jumps. Rogue catches him, and then she was like,
Psych.
"Mm-hmm, yeah, I'm gonna let you go." Beast tried. Okay, Beast was like, "Come on, are we? Is this us?"
I don't
And
know if
Rogue
it's
was
y'all,
like,
but it's me.
"She." Rogue said, "This is me."
This is me.
She dropped that man. Yo, my face. I don't even know why at this point. I was shocked that it happened. After we seen Storm get shot and lose her powers, I'm
That was
shocked that she just dropped this man. She's hurting right now.
she hurt
This is
him.
not the Rogue we know. It's not the
No.
Rogue we used to know. This new age Rogue
Rogue,
right now.
rogue, went rogue.
It's in her name. Thank you. It's
Dang.
in her name.
Rogue went rogue. Child, yeah, that was a messy episode. I ain't gonna hold you.
It was. It
After
was.
you broke it down like that, I'm like, dog. Episode 7 was very, very messy.
He didn't die, ladies and gentlemen. He turned into the
hold on, wait.
Sentinel. They fought.
So was it in the episode 7 or episode 8 when Magneto was up there looking all crazy?
That's at the end of 7. And you're right. At the end of 7, after they fought Trask, Trask turns into a Sentinel, human Sentinel. They fought him. Cable shows up to save him. And then we find out that Magneto was being held by Bastion this entire time, and Bastion was shaving him.
Magneto being still alive, I just want to say I predicted it, and I'm glad that I predicted it because I like Magneto, and I'm a huge Magneto fan.
So, with all the questionable moments about everybody's relationships and how they were doing things and how they were moving with everybody, Jean pushing up on Wolverine, what's old buddy Morph pushing up on Wolverine, and then when we see Bastion and Magneto in episode 8, and Magneto is on the S&M board X chained up. So did Bastion have a thing for Magneto? Because
I
he
think
shaved
so.
this man.
He did shave him too. He shaved him, and he ain't
How
had
much
nothing
did he
on.
shave? He ain't had no hair on.
He ain't had nothing on either. I mean, he had like the little loincloth thing going on, but I think they only did that because it's a children's show.
Speaking of that moment, so somebody on Twitter, and I wish I had the screenshot. Someone on Twitter was like, the writer of the X-Men must be gay or bi something. And then the Mayo was like, yeah, guilty. Like, of course I am. Anyway, let's get back to this episode. That was a rant. I'm sorry. Let's get back to where we were talking. Yeah. Professor X ain't, he's excrement when you really think about it. Because in his mindset, Professor X is like, this is my dream and this is what I want. But I want it for everybody. Not taking into consideration that everybody may not want that. But in his mind, my way is the best way. And if you go back and you think about Martin Luther King, and after his I Have a Dream speech, and after we were all integrated, he definitely was like, did I bring my people into a burning house? This is basically what the episode is talking, the show. discovers. Like, did he? Will there ever be a point where humans and mutants can just be happy together? And this is what we're exploring now. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get back to Rogue. I mean, get back to Magneto, who was locked up by Bastion. And then in this episode, we find out that Bastion has a mother.
I mean, I would hope he has a mother. Everybody should have
And
a mother.
true, true. And we find out that
But
Bastion's mom, I'm just gonna skip and say it. The X-Men went to his house. We find out that Bastion has been having these memories, these visions since he was a child, and he was drawing them of
mm-hmm,
the takeover of the Sentinels.
mm-hmm.
Because his DNA, his dad's DNA got taken over by Nimrod. Nimrod basically, when his dad made him, a genetic code got into Bastion, and Bastion is a walking Sentinel, basically.
Yeah. When they finally made it to the mother's house, when she transformed,
Yeah.
and that's when it dawned on me that one way or another, they were going to try to take these humans out.
Yep. Uh,
And it like I was like, ain't she a human? Like, why is she a sentinel now?
you know what
And
we missed?
it was like it just dawned on me. And I was just like, we're effed.
Facts. You know what we missed though?
Huh?
What we missed was is we all know how cable came about, but we didn't realize how important that moment was in the earlier part of the episodes. What was it, episode 2 or 3? When
Yeah. When they
when
took
they
him
Scott
away.
and Madeline had cable and they took him away.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Sinister got him and dipped him in the pool. We did not know that's what that was. We know about the technovirus that Cable has.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we know that he's been genetically modified in some way, but we didn't know that that is also the method in which Bastion was treating all these humans. So basically, how we all got how the humans, so many of them, because they end up attacking the X Mansion, they end up attacking the malls. Um,
The mall.
every
It's the mall for me.
They were everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, what it was is these people were anti-mutant, and their hate was all that Bastion was needed to feed on to get them to come to him. And when they came to him, he put them in the pool. They don't remember what happened afterwards. All they know is they didn't like mutants before. They don't like mutants after. Everything in between didn't matter. So he was using their hate and their anxieties and their fears to use them for his own gain and transform him into these human sentinel hybrids, which is wild when you let your rage get that far, your hatred get that far gone where you just kind of agree and go anywhere blindly and not knowing what you're getting into. You have to be careful out here in these streets, people.
You got to.
Um, let's talk about Jubilee and
Sunspot.
Sunspot. And another reason I'm mad about this show. um, so Jubilee convinces Sunspot to go talk to his mom, right? And to come out, which he does. So when things start getting crazy, Sunspot and Jubilee runs back to the home. Did we talk about how his mom treated him the last time about when he came out?
Didn't we
And
talk about it in the episode with Get Yo?
I want to say we did. But anyway, just quick recap. His mom ain't about nothing. And she was
Facts.
and
I
and she,
accept you for being you, but we're not going to tell the public who you are.
because of investors, and we don't want to crash our stock, which if you're just thinking business wise is smart, but there's no compassion in that.
Mm-mm.
So there's that. They run home to Sunspot's house, and his mom was like, let the Sentinels take you. Like, they just want you. They're gonna take care of you. Just go ahead and go with them. All the people in the house stopped looking. They were just watching what's going on. And his mom basically sold him out to the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fear of Magneto's. to the point where,
Mhm.
hey, humans will rat you out and they will dog you out at any chance they get. This is part of his lived experience, which is why it was important for him to be so anti-human in his mind. Like, I've seen the worst during the Holocaust. I know what they'll do to us, and they'll do it to the mutants too. And we're seeing it play out in real time.
Yeah.
Okay, so Valerie Cooper basically set off memes when she said Magneto was right,
Mm-hmm.
which at this point in time, after the attack, he technically is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we all had a lot of fun with that. Magneto was right. And then they had Nightcrawler in his reverend outfit, talking about all the time Magneto is good and Magneto is good all the time. I mean,
Magnet.
Magneto is right all the time. So we find out that the mutants go to stop Magneto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Magneto has basically been freed by Senator, I mean not Senator, by what's her name? What's her
Valerie
name again?
Cooper.
Valerie Cooper. She freed him. She said, Magneto, you're right. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
free you. The moment Magneto got free, he flew up and shut down the whole world with an
EMP.
EMP. Jeez. Anyway,
Electronic magnetic pulse.
he hit that thing, right?
That thing was crazy too.
It was. And now the government's convening. Now they're like, yo, what's going on? We got to do some stuff. And then we see Captain America and we see Iron Man and then we see General Ross and then we see them colluding with President Kelly and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, Magneto's wilding again. What are we gonna do? Now, mind you, Senator Kelly was like the big bad, one of the big
Mm-hmm.
bads from the first half of this. Okay, the first few seasons of X-Men, the 90s run, right?
91. Mm-hmm.
So now he's not just a senator, he's the president. And we've seen Scott talk to him before. Right after the battle of Genosha, after all that fell, he was trying to get him to help send more aid. Scott hung up on him because that Scott thing hanging up on world leaders apparently. Uh,
If I was Scott, I'd do the same thing. Free.
right. You know what we didn't say?
Mm.
Xavier came back. Then he came back in E7. He came back at the end
Oh
of
my
six,
gosh, he
right?
came. He technically came back at the end of 6, but he ain't really do nothing till episode 8.
Facts. Okay, so we see back to this council with the superheroes and General Ross and them. We see Senator Kelly debating on whether or not uh he needs to hit the Magneto protocol, right? So basically, Charles is like, you got to give me some time. Charles said, hey, I could talk him down. Don't press the button for the Magneto protocol yet. I can fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, spoiler alert, could not fix this.
No, this was
Not
not
with his
fixable.
words. So
Not for Charles.
not for Charles. So
Mhm.
we get the X-Men going up there. They're trying to convince Magneto to cut the world back on. Because he did that on a world level, right? He shut it down like from the inside of the earth, outside of
Mega
it,
level threat.
which is why the Magneto protocols was needed. Which if I'm being real, it's kind of stupid that they was like, the world has been shut down. Let's press the Magneto protocol when who gonna cut the earth back on? Anyway,
Right.
so Charles
Charles.
goes Charles sends the X-Men, they split up in teams. They go Rogue. I'm sorry, before we got there, Magneto comes down to talk to the X-Men and was like, listen, y'all either with me or you're against me. That's it.
Period.
You on team
Which is,
Magneto
or you're not.
or you're not. And then we
Period.
see Rogue go rogue for the 15th time inside with Magneto. And then we see Sunspot go too. And he just broke Jubilee whole
That's
heart.
when you broke. That's when it pissed you off.
No.
Oh,
I'm gonna say why I'm mad at the whole
I kind
series.
of saw that happening.
After the way his mom treat him, I would have went with Magneto too.
Yeah, I would have been with Magneto too if I was him. Sorry, y'all.
You
She
know,
got
you
to go.
know,
Mom got to go.
where was your daddy at, boy? Where's the daddy? I need to know. I need to know where the daddy at. Maybe he could have
Hiding.
talked him down.
He hiding. Ain't no daddy.
He Will
Ain't no
Smith daddy
damn
right
daddy.
now. He Will Smith daddy right now. Why could you don't want? Anyway, I'm sorry. So they go with Magneto. They fly off to the meteor in the sky, right? The X-Men, Xavier's in the X-Men team, blue team gold. They split up, they go do their thing. A group of them went to go fight Bastion and the
Uh-huh.
Sentinels, and a group of them went to go fight Magneto. The group that went to go fight Magneto, it didn't go so well. Let's just be real. It didn't go so well on either side, right? Because
Not either side. Not either side. Not for real. For real.
I mean, we got
I
to see
mean,
Storm come out of hiding for a little bit.
they were kind of one up with Bastion, but how long did it take them to get there?
Facts. And if
It's
it
like a
wasn't for,
whole episode.
let's see, first what happened. Let's talk about Bastion because I think the Magneto stuff is a little bit more shocking. So when they went to go fight Bastion, you got Beast, you got Forge, you got Storm. Okay, you got Jean,
Hmm.
you got Cable. If this is me and they was like, which team you want to roll with, I'm going with that team, right? Because I'm like, yo, they got the heavy hitters over here.
With the winning team,
Like, what could go wrong? Everything could go wrong.
everything.
So Beast and Forge makes a collar, right? They're
Hmm.
gonna put the
Hmm.
collar on Bash and shut down the Sentinels. That was the plan.
That was planned.
But what we didn't know was Mr. Sinister had his hooks in Cable because
This
that's what
whole time.
Sinister does. Every time he creates something or anything he has, he always put a back door in there where he can control them. And he took over Cable. Let's see. Beast and Forge failed to put the collar on Bastion.
Hmm.
Jean got that work. Storm got work. Storm was doing well in the sky,
He's doing good
taking out.
for a hot little second. Maybe that time when she got her powers taken away, she got a little sloppy or something. I don't know what was going on.
She was distracted with love. Her man was flying the jet. He was in danger. She was like getting the Sentinels off him. And then the Sentinels was like, hey, you forgot we was back here too, shouty.
That's why they say love makes us weak.
Obviously it does. Um, so
That's exactly why, right there.
so it all goes to hell. And then we see the Phoenix come back.
And this is when everything changed for me. I'm not going to say that everything changed, but that's when that excitement came back out.
Oh, yeah, the theme song started building up in your mind a little bit,
About
huh?
it was like one of those about time. Here is the
Yeah.
Phoenix, guys. Feel the wrath.
And but it was bittersweet though, because even though the Phoenix tipped the scale of battles, we freed Cable, you
Free
know.
cable.
Uh it was the last time though. Like we weren't gonna see the Phoenix no more. That's it. We flip over to the Magneto battle, and it ain't going so well over there either.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
And my man's Professor X thought he had the plan. He was like, "Hey, listen, this ain't the way. We could do it better." And then Magneto hit him with the what? Shut your ass up, Charles.
I've been waiting to say this. I've been waiting.
Yo, I popped for that. Like in my house, I was like, "You tell him." And I'm Team Charles most of the time.
Right, right, right.
But when he was like, "Shut up, Charles," I was like, "Dang,
You better
he
shut
needs to
up.
shut up."
You needed to shut up. This one, just for the one, just for the one.
Yeah, like because all his preaching, where has it gotten now? And this is the flip side of the who
And he
was
was
right.
off planet for like a year, bro.
Right. He got Magneto's helmet off of him. If y'all didn't know, Magneto helmet repels Charles's psychic attacks and
That
most
is
psychic
something
attacks.
everybody should know by now.
True,
That's
but
something
a
that
lot of
they
people
kept
don't.
up with. That's something they kept up with through the comics, through the TV show, through the
Yep.
movies.
Factuals. So he gets the helmet off. He gets to attack Magneto, and then Magneto gets the upper hand over Scott. Wolverine was like, "Not on my watch," and then
Oh
he
my
hit him
god.
with the schnick in the
It was
back.
it was the Wolverine for me. The way that they animated it,
It
oh
was
my god.
so dope.
Yeah,
Oh,
you should be back.
so in Batman, the animated series, every time Batman punched, they flashed a screen,
Yeah,
right?
never
In
showed that.
Spider-Man, the animated universe, he couldn't punch people either, which is
Mhm.
like, wow. So if there were any punches happening, it was off screen.
It was all
Like
screen.
they'll turn the camera real quick, and then you see somebody flying back. Like
Hmm.
that type of stuff. I mean, kicks was fine. Y'all don't even know how much Power Rangers got in trouble. It was very controversial at one point. So to hear this series curse, to see the amount of deaths happening the way they're happening, and to see Wolverine pull the claws and
Well, the,
stab Magneto, mind is blown on more levels than one. Like they pulling the trigger on this
it was
stuff.
the blood for me.
Right? I'm like, oh my God, Wolverine killed Magneto. I couldn't believe it. I still can't. But then, but then, but then
But Magneto was
we
like,
were
"Psych,
we were wrong.
here
Magneto
come another
said
psych."
reverse, reverse.
He did because what is Wolverine? What Wolverine got in him?
The animanium
Manium.
and that metal.
Heavy metal at that, baby. He ripped that antimanium right out his body.
I
Wolverine
never thought
is sick. I
I
never,
never thought
I
we'll
never
see it.
thought that I never thought we would see it either. Honestly, like I always saw him being toyed with, he'll be tossing Wolverine back and forth. He even bent his daggone claws back a couple of times. But ripping the antimanium out of his body, bruh.
As a comic book fan,
Pack me,
seeing it in the
pack me
comic
up.
and seeing it,
Pack me up.
right? I couldn't believe it. I was like, they actually
They
did the
actually showed
thing the
it.
comic
They did it.
did,
They did it.
and it was just as glorious. I know we're talking about violence here, but it was just as
It was
glorious
glorious.
as it was in the comic. And I appreciate. Thank you for giving me two
Thank
of the
you guys.
best moments ever
Thank you guys.
in
My
X-Men.
fiance is I know I told you, he's a huge comic book fan as well. And bruh, the way he was in here, like losing it, like
This whole
it just
episode
was
had,
shock.
whoo,
That was episode 9.
yes,
Yeah.
because after that was over, we're left with Wolverine on the ground screaming. 10 opens with Magneto and Professor X, what looks like to be a flashback. Because I thought it
Oh
was a
yes, yes.
flashback.
We thought it was a flashback. We thought it was a flashback. Yes.
Yeah.
We thought it was a flashback because at the end of episode 9, that's when Charles was like, "Up, I got to get in this brain.
For real.
I got to get up in this brain. I don't know about y'all, but I got to do my thing."
So we see that Charles is trying to meet Magneto at his emotional level, right? He's in his head. At this point, Magneto is well aware. He's like, get out of my head, Charles. Like, why are you here? And Charles like, come on, Magnus, we got to do better. There's another way. Cut the earth back on. Audible that Professor X does. He does his thing. And Magneto was like, no. Like, who was you talking to? I'm not doing it. You can leave me alone. You can go kick rocks. And then Charles was like, I can make you do it. Charles forced Magneto because he could control him. So he forced Magneto to cut the power back on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bastion was like, you idiot, that's what I wanted. And then all the Sentinels came back on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the Phoenix scene happens. Like,
that's when the Phoenix scene happens.
Yeah, because we see Mr. Sinister lose all his DNA. So what people don't know, a lot of people don't know, is Mr. Sinister is not a mutant. He just stole a bunch of mutant DNA. Why when the Phoenix pulled the power from him, he got
He was
really
so
old.
old.
Yeah. And then
Oh,
Morph was like, when he went to Morph and said, "What do I look like?" And Morph showed him. That was Morph getting vindication because the reason Morph went missing and the reason he wasn't a part of the team in the first series was because Mr. Sinister kidnapped him and was forcing him to do things.
poor
So it
boy.
was like a triumphant joke moment for Morph. So now Magneto cut the power on, Bastion rips cables on Morph and turns himself into a super human sentinel with the
Yeah,
coolest armor of all time for this time period of 97, even though Iron Man 97 is running around, which is the best Iron Man gear of all time. That's my biases, and I'm sticking with it. Anyway, so Bastion is now out here. He out here beating the brakes off the mutants, right?
okay.
Um, he done ran up there where Magneto was at, and the rest of the X-Men. Magneto sleep, Charles sleep. Um, all the X-Men have reconvened together at this point, and they're like, "Hey, we got to beat them. Like, how we gonna do it?" Cyclops like, "I don't know." Stone was like, "Whatever it is, we gonna do it as a family because that's what we do." So then,
Okay,
so
Dominic Toretto.
I forgot how did they even get up there with him? Beast hijacked a Sentinel and brought them up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
As
after
he
they
should.
fought, Cyclops was actually really smart because he was like, "You know what? I ain't gonna fight you. This is what we gonna do right here. You family, baby. We together. We one. Why we doing this? Like you a mutant, we mutants. We all cool, baby." And then Bastion was like, "Are you really trying to like talk to my humanity right now? Do I look like the type of person who cares about his humanity side?" Which is true. And then B stomped him. Jubilee had a moment where
Yep, Jubilee
she hit
had
him
her
with
moment.
the kick, threw him into a sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically their plan was this: they had to destroy the missile because I mean the meteor because the Magneto protocol had went through. The missiles was coming, so they had to save the world from this meteor because it's gonna fall on Earth and blow it up.
Yes.
So they were gonna stay behind and blow up the meteor. So we get a moment where Scott and Jean talks to Cable, who was on Earth, chilling with one arm. And it was a heartfelt moment. It was a heartfelt moment.
BK with one arm.
He was chilling with one arm. He ain't had
Forget
number one arm.
that.
He didn't get that back. Where they finally Cable finally came around and like, y'all my folks and I love y'all. No matter what nobody say, y'all was a lot cooler than the legends say, because he from the future. A time jump happens, Ford survives, and you see a poster on the wall. Everybody that's missing, everybody that's still active. All the main X-Men are assumed to be dead. And then we see Bishop, who has been MIA this entire time, um, show back up with a fade and was like, Fortune's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Hey, we're gonna be friends in the future, but I'm gonna help you find the X-Men." He was like, "But they're all dead." And he's like, "No, no, no, they're not dead. And they're lost." And he said, "Where?" He said, "It's not about where, it's about when." Then we go to the time jumps where Rogue, Magneto, Nightcrawler,
And Beast,
Beast, and somebody
they
else, and Xavier, and
they
Xavier.
all the
Uh,
way like ancient
they're in the
Egypt.
past. Yeah, they're in ancient Egypt. They were about to get attacked, and then
Was that
someone saved
Apocalypse?
them. That is Apocalypse.
Okay.
That's before he became Apocalypse. So they
Before he
saved
became Apocalypse.
by young Apocalypse. I forgot his name. It's like Sir Nerd something. I ain't finna do it.
Don't
I'm gonna
hurt yourself.
butcher it.
Yeah.
So young Apocalypse shows up, saves
Yep.
them,
Yep.
and then we get another time jump to the future
Mm-hmm.
where Scott and Jean are, and they're met by,
Yes.
I just don't know her by the name that they chose that she's going by right now. But it's an older lady. It's also the A. I am having a brain fart like a mug right now. But anyway, they're met in the future. She explains who she is. They then we see young Cable before he
Mm-hmm.
becomes
He's not
Magneto.
even Cable. He just Nathan right now.
He's just Nathan right now.
Now,
Then we
what?
get another cut scene where we're back on present day Genosha, and we
Mm-hmm.
see Apocalypse pick up a card, which was the Queen of Hearts, which is Gambit's card that he was holding that he dropped. Well, he was holding when he found out about Rogue and Magneto. Everything.
So
Also, we don't know where Storm is.
Yeah, we don't know where Storm is. I thought she
Now
was in
that is everything.
Egypt, but she's not. But she wasn't right there.
She
Now that I
wasn't
think
with
about
them.
it,
Saw T'Chaka as Black Panther
we
when they
did see
was
T'Chaka.
discussing the Magneto protocols.
We did see T'Chaka.
So, also a thing that we saw was another 30-year cliffhanger at the end of Spider-Man. Remember, the real Mary Jane was missing
Mm-hmm.
and when we see Peter Parker watching the news about the Magneto protocol going off, um we see him standing with Mary Jane. So, ladies and gentlemen, we found Mary Jane. Mary Jane is back. Clap it up. 30 years we've been waiting to see if Mary Jane was still alive. Yes, she is. You can
But
you
this
can
might not
relax
be the
now.
same. But this might not be the same dag on timeline.
Don't take don't take this
Take it
closure
away
from
from you.
us.
I'm sorry.
Don't take this closure from it's the same timeline. It's the same timeline. They said it, okay?
That's what they say. But okay.
I've been wanting to see the real that's everybody's favorite Mary Jane. That's like the
She
OG
got
of
it.
OG's Mary Jane. So yeah. Um so let's talk about futures. What do you see happening in season 2?
Well, they keep on telling me, like, kind of like spoiling me a little bit of this storyline with Minister, Mister Sinister.
Yeah, because
Mr.
ain't no way he just
Sinister.
riding off in the sunset.
No, he's not. Apparently, he's gonna have like these. What is basically like the four horsemen, basically, and allegedly Gambit's supposed to be a part of it. So
The four
I don't know
horsemen of
how.
apocalypse.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. So he said they might go with that way. I don't know how much of it is true because, like I said, I don't follow the comic books, so I would be excited to see Gambit come back, but I would not want him to be coming back as one of the daggone four horsemen. Two, I am really excited to see how I think we're going to see something that has to deal with Jean, Scott, and Nathan putting the pieces together to get back to the present day. That's what I think is going to happen with how everybody's going to get back to the present. Also, a theory that I have: Wolverine is going to go through another evolution.
Wolverine wasn't there, was he?
He
He
didn't
was
get
missing
zapped
too.
anywhere. He didn't get. Well, he may
We
have
know
gotten zapped somewhere, but we don't know where. But
because
we
I
didn't
think
see him.
Jubilee and Sunspot still on Earth too. Like they were fine. They flew away. All
Yeah.
right. So my theory is we're gonna get but not a buddy comedy, but a bit of a buddy comedy for a minute here with Forge and Bishop, where they're gonna grow together and get cool, and then they're gonna go find Jubilee and Roberto,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna find Wolverine because I think Wolverine's still on the Earth somewhere. So those five, probably Angel, and I think Dazzler's alive somewhere. I think Dazzler's still alive, and I want to say was Shadowcat still alive on that board? So if they're all alive, those are the 8 people that are gonna be like our main season 2 people. Everybody else is gonna be stuck wherever they are for a while,
For a
and
while.
and I think whatever happens with Young Apocalypse, we're gonna find out what the X-Men done and said to him about the future, which is gonna turn him into this evil, maniacal, I gotta take over the world.
Yeah.
type of apocalypse.
Yeah.
And as far as Nathan them in the future, I think because we find out that the timeline is basically inevitable. Like what happens with Bastion and Nimrod and all that, it's got to happen in some form. And I think we probably see the seeds of that in the future, which
Mm-hmm.
is what they're because it looked pretty post-apocalyptic up there too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think all of them are going to impact each other's storyline going forward. And I think it's going to be cool. As far as Storm, I really think she fell to Wakanda and they are going to treat her like the goddess she is.
But we're gonna see. I hope so.
Um, but yeah, that's our review of X-Men. Hopefully that wasn't too long.
Looking at that
That
timer, like, oh, we out here, ain't we?
yeah, for real. So you know what though? Um last thing, because I said I was gonna say why I did not like the X-Men series.
Oh, there's one little thing that you didn't like
The
about
one
it.
thing let me rephrase that. The reason that I was upset at them. So, and the reason why I asked where Roberto's daddy was, because in the comic book, when Sunspot first gets his powers, it was due to racial issues. He was being attacked for being Afro Brazilian, and his powers manifested. Not only did they erase that storyline into
And I
more
didn't
of a
come in or
coming
whatever.
out gay thing, which is fine, but where was his daddy at? We didn't even see this man. Like, and
No.
I get it, you have to do creative things, but I feel like that would have been a more powerful moment of him being bullied, and then power goes off, and then we had to go get him because he was shunned at that point. That's a way more powerful storyline. But anyway, that's my issue. Do you have anything you didn't like about the series?
There's not one thing I could tell you right now that I don't like about the series. The only thing that I don't like is there is one thing. I just don't know which timeline and which Earth we on. That's it. Other than that, this is a masterpiece to me. I love X-Men 97. I'm going to rewatch it as soon as we're finished this recording today.
Yeah, that's my only issue. Also, we're done. That was it. Okay,
That's
go
it.
watch, go watch Doctor Who. That's homework for like the mid season. It's 4 episodes at this
Homework.
point. Go watch
I'm
Doctor
gonna
Who.
go
That's
watch
all
it.
I need you to do. I mean, catch up
Watch
on
it.
us. Oh, absolutely. I'm
Okay,
caught
I'm gonna
up.
watch
I love Doctor Who. I might get the VR game. It might be trash, but I want to play it.
it. Wasn't there like a previous series too?
This is like what doctor is he? 15? It's like the 15th doctor.
But
Trust
I'm
me,
talking
you
about
don't
like
have
the
to.
TV show.
Yes, it's an
I don't
old
have to go
show.
watch. I don't have to go watch the previous show.
No. I will say go watch the Disney specials before you watch Doctor Who, the show.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna see David Tennant come back as like he's the only person that's played two separate doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And after you go watch it blind, and then come back to me, and then we'll talk about it.
See
Go watch
less.
Doctor Who. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We had a really great time this season so far.
Yes,
We
we
got to
have.
take this break.
It's needed. We got
Yeah, we
to.
got
If
schedules
June
getting
was
crazy.
impact, if June was impact, we wouldn't do it. But June is packed. I can't believe it's packed like this. June
Wow,
is
right?
packed. It's lit. June is lit.
This season of Earth has been wild. It's been crazy. I'm enjoying it though.
This
I
season of
mean,
Earth. On this
season
season of Earth.
2024.
On this season of Earth. Nah, facts. Nah,
But
facts. This season of Earth
um,
has been lit.
for real. But anyway, this is our mid-season finale. We're gonna see you guys in July. Make sure you keep your calendars open for that. We love you guys. I have been Instructor PK.
I'm instructor Novacaine. Do not forget to cite your sources.
Boom. All that good stuff. And we about this thing. Ring the bell.